All right, welcome back, Math 20-3. Today's lesson is a first part of chapter 7.2. The title is Budgeting Process, and you can find it from workbook page 342, as you can see over there. Sorry. This lesson will be this chapter will be divided into two different lessons. But one of the lesson, which is what I'm recording right now, consider that as an intro for the second part. Now, last time in chapter 7.1, we had basically everything given in terms of this is income category, this is expense category, and everything was detailedly written like, oh, this month was income is that amount, expense for utility was that amount, something like that. So all the table is given to you. And honestly, yes, it is something that you will expect to do when it comes to adult life, whether you like it or not. Now, today we're basically finding out how those tables come out. And in order to go through the budget plan, we need to learn about two terminology. Surplus versus deficit. So surplus, it's basically, if I put it as a little bit mathematical symbols and signs, when your net income is bigger than your net expenses, then that is equal to what I like to call surplus. The reason being is because you have a choice. If you have a surplus, choices that you have is basically you can spend these surplus money, or you can invest these surplus money, or you can save this surplus money. So it is rather happy struggle, if you will. As you may know, you don't want to go there. Deficit. This is a situation where net income is actually smaller than net expenses. That's something that you need to understand. That means negative overrule the positive amount. So mathematically, if you add positive and negative number is bigger, then you will have net negative. So that is what I like to say deficit. And when it comes to deficit, unfortunately, that is basically a debt. If it's personal level, that doesn't even look good with your own credit and so on. You may have a lot of restriction whenever you want to purchase something in future or get money to run your own business, something like that. When it comes to national level, some of you, I don't know how much you go through media and news, politics, something like that. I go through that a lot. A few years ago, there were IMF, and then Greece was almost at the verge of bankruptcy. And the reason that happened is because Greece government in Europe, their income was less than their expenses. They expense way more for a few years, and now when they try to bring it back, they couldn't. Some people may say, Mr. Kim, doesn't that mean I can just print more money? You cannot. Because I know it's a little bit sidetracked, but it is important for understanding this concept anyway. Imagine you have 10 $100 bills in your house. That means, or house represent a country. That means each of those paper that printed 100 is truly value 100 because 100, 200, 300, you make 1,000. But as soon as you try to print more $100 bill, so imagine you printed another 10, so you have $100 bill in your house, and again, house is your country, then that money, even though it said 100, doesn't value 100. It's actually value about half of it, like $50. That's where some of the term inflation, deflation, those kind of terms coming in. Sorry about taking that little bit of a sidetrack, but it go along well with the surplus and deficit. And although we are not talking about the bigger scale, we are generally talking about personal budget. So let's go back to our personal level. And in order to make your budget, of course, you need to categorize income versus expenses. And when you do, you need to understand that is it monthly. Then you may need to add it up to do long-term planning for per year, something like that. In fact, most of the investment goes not much go to 6-month period, but it's generally a year. Even a year is not that long. 2 years, 3 years, GIC, something like that. You have to understand those process. So what I'm going to do now is basically undergoing example number 1 on page 343. At this point, feel free to pause this video, and I know it's tedious, but I want you to copy the table that is on page 343 on a blank pieces of paper, like what I did. So, because this process is significant for your budget calculation and basically a long-term planning for your budget. So, have that in your mind. Once you finish copying it after pausing this video, which I'm assuming now you finished that, I'm going to go through each of the questions. Example number 1. Kate works on salary and earns $2,259.09 per month. She kept track of her monthly expenses for a period of 6 months. And we have April, May, June, and then bunch of category. I have 3 months on the top, 3 months at the bottom. So use this information to calculate her average monthly expenses in each category for a 6-month period. So let's make each of the expenses. We have to discuss about rent, net rent, I guess. And when it comes to rent, it's regular expenses, and let's just double check. 450, 450, 450. Even if you go to the other month, as you may notice, it's 450 per month. So when it comes to its average category, you don't need to do average calculation. It's 450 regular payment per month. If you want to do average, add everything and divide it by 6. But you may know it's going to be same. On the other hand, utility. This is where things are different a bit. I want you to go to the table. You have 150, April, 125, 125, 155, 150, and 200. Now you may notice this is I know it's regular, but it's varying. Because you change all the time when it comes to that amount. So, when it comes to that, let's take out the calculator, add them all. Then you have 150.83333, and it's kept going. It's about that amount. Grocery. Do the same thing. How much we have? We have 260, 300, 100, 275, 150, 125, then divided by 6 months. Then $201.67 is what we have. Another regular payment, you can find it, car insurance, $175 for everything. So car insurance is easy. It's just that amount. And it's pretty consistent. Gas, it's a varying amount for sure. So you need to do some average calculation. Gas amount was 90 plus 125, 100, 250, 100, then divided by 6. That will give you a rounded up answer. And as you may notice, once you figure this process out, even though it's tedious, it gives you how much regular amount you're paying for each category. Previous lesson, you have everything given. Now we are doing the whole process. Now, let's finish it up. Restaurant. Restaurant amount. Let's see. Restaurant amount had the first month 120, 90, 150, 120, 100, 120, then divided by 6. Give you roughly $116.67. That's the amount that you use for a restaurant, which I believe you can ease up the money a little bit. Entertainment. This person used entertainment for quite regularly. There's some unexpected payment for fourth month 325 and fifth month, holy moly, 350, 200. If there's a budget planning, entertainment is actually one of the easy way to save up some of the money. And the thing is, it's the exact 1,000. Oops, sorry. Now I need to divide it by 6. I just add them up. 180.83. That's about the average money for entertainment. And we also have a regular payment for car insurance, which is a 115. Did I do the car insurance? No, I didn't. 150, that's an insurance money. So car mortgage versus car insurance. At least this is regular, so you don't need to do average calculation. Clothes is a little unique one because there is a $0 for the first month, so you don't even need to put 75, 350, 50, 90. I know it's a 4 category, but because we have 2 category that is 0 or not applicable, so this amount will be relatively cheap. $94.17 around. And my last miscellaneous 75, 50. $66.67. So now we did question A, which is find out the average value of those. And B, when it says create a possible conservative budget for Kate. If she has surplus, allocate the extra money to saving. Well, here's what you do then. You are making a table like what you saw in chapter 7.1. So here's what you do. Title first, Kate, I believe that was her name, monthly budget. On the left side, you should have income, money symbol, expense, money symbol. And on the left side, you have regular paycheck, which is 2,200. I believe that's the questions at the very top set. When it comes to expense, however, you need to go through each of them. Rent, however, you don't need to do all the questions. We just copy from previous one. 450. Utility, 200. Oops, you don't need to put dollar sign since I put it on the top. But if you want to put dollar sign for everything, that is your choice. Grocery was 250. Car payment, not car insurance, that was 175. And gas, 150. Restaurant, 116.67. Entertainment, 180.83. Car insurance was $115. And I know it can be tedious, but it's a part of the process. Clothes, 94.17. Miscellaneous, $66.67. So that's what we have as a budget table. As you may notice, it's not that hard to create. Now, some people put net at the bottom, which is perfectly fine. Net income, net expenses. Basically, it's addition of everything. Net income, you only have one. 2,200. Net expenses, now you need the calculator, add everything. You have 1,000. Did I ask something wrong? Let's see. $450, $200, $250, $175, $150, $116.67, and entertainment $180.83. Yeah, it is correct. Just for the heads up, in textbook, it seems like restaurant value and entertainment value was somehow printed wrong. So just for the heads up. And it seems like it's rounded up for clothing too as 100 and miscellaneous as 100. So you know what? Just for the heads up, we you don't want to underestimate. If you want to be precise, you can just follow the whole thing like the way that we did. Then we have 1,798.34. Overestimate. If you round it up to 100 instead of 94, something like that, should give about 1,865 if you overestimate your expenses. That is textbook answer. That is my answer. So it is your choice which one you want to go. But in any case, the surplus of the budget, I'm going to go with my data. So 2,200 minus 17,098.34 basically provide that much of surplus. And that's the money where Kate can put into her savings. That's what I want to point it out, folks. So, I believe that is everything. Your to-do list is page, so it's your homework, page 345. What is it? 349, 348. I want you to do question 1 and 2. Number 3, I believe you don't have to do for now.